Thumb Productions presents the Podlie Podcast. Here's your hosts, Podlie Bill, Podlie Cliff, and Podlie Paul.
And good evening, everybody. It is Epi 138, the Podlie Podcast. Nicole is in there quick. Hello, Nicole. Happy Monday to you as well. Whole 3,500 points to Nicole. Paul, Cliff, good evening.
Hey!
Cliff can't hear us. Yeah, can't hear you, Cliff.
Nicole's epic.
Chai's in second, 2,500 points for Chai. And 1,500 points for William. And we just lost Cliff.
Hey, how was Ottawa?
Ottawa was a lot of fun. Hello there, Leslie Ann. We just lost your husband. He disappeared off the podcast.
Find him for us, Leslie Ann.
Yeah. Ottawa was a lot of fun. Paul got to go to a Ottawa Senators Nashville Predators game last Monday, which was really cool to see an NHL game in a another NHL arena. I've been
has it ever occurred to you to want to go to all 32 NHL arenas? You ever thought about it?
Oh, that's always an idea, I guess. The thing being, of course, you might have 32 plane rides, which is a lot of money, or driving, I guess, as well. Hello there, Cliff.
Yeah. It's probably cheaper driving, I guess, than it would flights, eh?
I'm assuming so. Just all the gas.
All you do is hit the Eastern Seaboard, and you've got Boston, you've got 2 New Yorks, you've got New Jersey, it's probably a lot cheaper.
Yeah. No, so it was a definitely a fun to be able to go to a game, and our company got everybody there jerseys as well, which was fun.
Wow. Cool.
So that was kind of cool. Nicole says,
Bill, I just want to read in between Chai's comment here. What Chai wrote down is, don't give him ideas, Paulie, but what she really meant was take Bill and take Paul, let them do it. That's I'm reading in between the lines.
Okay.
That's what I meant.
We'll wait and see what she says. Oh, I think I hear you now there, Cliff. You there?
I'm here.
Hey! Goodbye!
And we lost Bill.
Goodbye! Hey, how you doing?
What happened? I was in and then I was gone. And then I was in and then I was gone.
Well, you're gone, baby.
Well, I'm gone, baby. And I don't know what happened to Bill. Bill,
How
come back, buddy. What's didn't mean it.
What's new?
I lost my internet. I'm back. The internet shut down.
That was funny because I was hooked up before and then I was unhooked. And then I had audio, then I didn't have audio, etc., etc., etc. We seem to be having some issues.
Some technical issues, yeah. Just all of a sudden, the internet just dropped right out there for a second. But hopefully we'll hold on here.
Hopefully it'll hold on. And I'm getting crooked here.
Cliff, how you doing? What's new? What's going on? How's the week?
I'm having trouble, man. I'm having all kinds of technical issues. But we're here. Can you hear me then?
Yes, we can hear you just fine.
Right then. Let the games begin, as they say. And there's a whole bunch of comments already. I don't know if anybody gave out points. I mean, you guys are slacking without me here.
We already gave the points out. Don't worry.
Oh, you gave the points out already. Okay, you guys are just way ahead of the game here without me.
People were already commenting as soon as we signed in. The comments were coming in, so we were all good there for sure. But no, anyway, Paul. Yeah, the Ottawa trip went really good. It was a busy 3 days with work and fun. Did some got to go axe throwing. I've never done axe throwing before.
Axe throwing.
So, is it as hard as I think it? Is it as hard as it looks?
It's actually hard. I never stuck one.
Yeah.
To be honest, I never stuck one in the target.
Oh, really?
There were people there who, did it right away, and others like me who, no matter how I tried, I could not get it to stick in the target.
Yeah, that was hard. Right, it was hard for me. Yeah.
Yeah, it was difficult. And we went curling, so I haven't been on curling ice in years and years and years and years. So that was fun as well. So
did you hit the button then?
We did do some work during the day, Cliff. We did do some meetings.
Just checking.
And we had a lot of our vendors, manufacturer reps were with us as well, so it was a decent crowd. But we did do a little bit of work as well. So
it just sounds like you're having so much fun. I didn't think there was any sort of time and space and stuff like that for actual work.
Yeah, we do try and fit in someone work when we're together as a team.
Get a little bit in there.
So what you're saying is you kind of earned the trip. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
There's
a lot of free booze being handed out, and free food and work.
You have a terrible life. You have a terrible life.
So my next big trip is Orlando, so we'll be looking forward to that one.
Mm-hmm.
So
when's that?
That'll be in June. So
in June. Nice.
In June.
Nice.
Prior to the Ravenwood Music Festival, everybody, which is June 23rd, June 24th. That's my only plug tonight.
That's it.
That's it. That's my one plug. So there's all sorts of comments that we've missed here that are just flying in here. So Chai says to Paul, I guess that means that she says, don't take her if you're taking me on a round tour of all the rinks.
Well, she is cuter, Bill. Yes, I'm out.
Laura says it's a rotating podcast. Yeah, because I disappeared and Cliff disappeared. And Leslie Ann apparently gave up her Wi-Fi to help you out there, Cliff. And she's blaming Chai for my Wi-Fi issues.
There we go. Well, yeah, I did lose something, and anyway, but yeah, and I couldn't even get on for a bit. I mean, I was running late anyway, but I couldn't even get on for a bit. I clicked the button and just sat there and just sort of waited.
Yeah, I had no issues with getting on, and Paul jumped in about 5 minutes before the podcast, and yeah, it's weird. We'll see what happens. But anyway, enough about me. How was your week there, Paul? Have you started a new job yet?
Today, first day.
Today.
Nice.
Today.
How was that?
It's gonna be very enjoyable. I'm gonna be teaching a lot of classes, which is great, which is right up my alley. So I'll be teaching introductory computer, which is really kind of funny to me. And I'll be teaching job skills and stuff like that. So
Cool.
it's really quite easy because you actually get the syllabus. It's almost a script. So,
yeah, it's just
you just ramble on pretty much.
You facilitate it is what you do.
Facilitate. I facilitate the words off the page is what I do.
Yeah, I taught. I helped teach actually. I kind of played sidekick to my instructor when he used to do job readiness training and stuff like that for mentally challenged people and physically challenged people and whatnot. And those who were not so challenged just couldn't seem to communicate well enough to get proper employment and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And one of his classes was called job readiness training. Excuse me. And I really liked him. He was a good mentor to me in other areas, so I offered to help. And often I was actually one doing the facilitating, and he would look after other tasks, and that's what it is. And I tell you what, it's a very rewarding thing to do. So I hope you have some good times with that, Podlie.
Thank you. Yes,
and the one thing you might not know about me is I was also an instructor at Grant MacEwan. So
is that right? Eh?
Well, I didn't know that. Yeah,
I taught a college course at Grant MacEwan for about a year and a half, 2 years. I was a college professor, I guess, if you want to call it that. I taught audiovisual course at Grant MacEwan.
Oh, cool.
Can I start calling you the professor?
If you want.
I'd like that. That'd be great. First day was good. Yeah, no, nothing to write home about. It was good. Yeah, no, nothing. It was looking forward to it. And to Cliff's point, I'm looking forward to helping a lot of people. So yeah.
It takes a little bit of patience and a little bit of fun and a little bit of drive that these people mean something and hopefully you can help them out.
Yep. Fingers crossed.
I found it very rewarding, and especially in the job readiness part, when you actually end up placing people and you see them succeed, it really is a cool thing to be a part of.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. So yeah. Other than that, nothing, boys. Nothing new with me.
What about you, Cliff? How was the week?
Oh, it was good. Same old. Slow ramp up to the year is normal from a work standpoint, and from a personal standpoint, just been basically laying low and chilling, as they say. So
excellent. Excellent. I'm just looking at some of these comments here. Laura May 57 says, by teaching beginner computers, Paul, you will learn more about technology yourself.
Well,
LOL.
that's it, Laura. And actually, it's it's they're doing me a favor, quite frankly, because that's exactly the way I'm looking at it. I'm hoping to learn a lot. Not only learn a lot from computer per se, but also learn a lot from the people, with which I'm facilitating getting a job. So yeah, it's gonna be rewarding all around. So and yeah, I'm looking forward to learning a lot about computers. So because gosh knows I need it. So
Nicole says, is this another episode of Gilligan's Island?
well, I don't know.
Sure.
We got the professor.
But what I am curious about is who's Gosh. You said Gosh knows you need it. I'm just worried. I'm just
Gosh
curious who he
knows.
is.
Gosh knows that's God's younger brother.
Oh, I see. Okay.
That's the one on the left hand side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
My God. My gosh.
I didn't realize he belonged to you, but okay. It's all right then.
Yeah.
All right. So at the 138, we weren't on, of course, last week because, as I said, I was away. So here's our topic for tonight. For those of you that are tuned in,
listen up, Laura.
do you think there was a time in this world when there were not materialistic people? You could provide an opinion without fear that you might offend someone. Did these times ever happen, or did they ever exist? There you go.
There you go. Discuss amongst yourselves, and the three of us will sit here and listen quietly.
We're going to sit back and watch.
Watch the fireworks, baby.
Yeah, we'll just sit back and listen, and you guys talk amongst yourselves.
And hey, by the way, we gained one more subscriber. Just to let you know, we're at
Who's
21. That? Nicole, I don't know on the YouTube feed. We have 21 subscribers. So Nicole, we haven't hit that 30 yet. So I know you were trying to get us there.
21 subscribers.
We need 9 more, Nicole, and we'll be at 30.
We're rocking and rolling now, my friend.
And then we only need like another 970, and we'll hit the 1,000 mark.
I think we should quash the podcast, like doing it online, and meet every Monday night at Podlie's house because we'll all fit.
Yeah.
Continue. I'm listening.
Right? No, that's it. That's the end. That's the end right there.
BYOB.
No, I don't own a bob, so I can't bring one. But
I'll supply the twister board.
Bring your own. Let's bring your own bill. Well, I can bring myself.
Yeah, you can bring yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd want to play Twister with you though, Paul, because you never wear pants.
That's true. I'm gassy too. I'm gassy too.
I don't think I'd be playing Twister with you. William, I think people were less materialistic prior to the internet and Amazon.
I would probably push back a little on that, William. I think people have been materialistic from time immemorial. I think the very first time the quadruped became a biped and he found a spear and he chased a mastodon, I think he was probably quite materialistic, thinking, oh my God, if I can get this mastodon, just imagine how much I could trade for women. Sorry. That was a side gig, But just imagine, he thought to himself, if I can get this, just imagine the fur coats that I could make in trade and all that sort of stuff. So I think, honestly, from time immemorial, humans have been materialistic, but just not all humans, right? Just as they are today, there are people that don't put a lot of weight and fervor when it comes to the gathering of material possessions. I think that would be the case throughout humanity, where some people are very, very, materialistic and material sort of focused, and other people are perhaps not. And I'm sure that there's a whole massive chunk of us that are someplace in the middle, between Mother Teresa and go ahead, Podlie.
So Cliff Chai says, can we at least first of all define being materialistic? Can we define materialistic? And like I don't think it's I think when you talk about being a materialistic person, you talk about privileges. You don't necessarily talk about needs, but you talk about privileges. Would I be right? Would I be correct in saying that?
Bill, you're the one that brought this topic to the forefront.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's probably part of it. Paul, of course, the other thing too is, just things, people who feel that in order to be successful or to be better than somebody else, you have to have more things, bigger, better things, the bigger car, the bigger, if you go back to as you said, Cliff, you go back to prehistoric times, and maybe the guy was more materialistic because he had the bigger club than the guy that was next to him who had the little, and he had to have 10 of those big clubs while the guy next to him had 2 little clubs.
Well,
So
I got a fridge full of food. Does that make me materialistic?
pizza pops.
Damn near. Damn near.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't know. I think materialistic has more to do with excess, right, Paulie? I mean, it's one thing to have a house to live in. It's another thing to have a mansion that is perhaps rather ostentatious and with square feet amounting to something that you could never use in your whole lifetime, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Let's say that, number one. Number two, I mean, you can have, one beautiful mason jar and one for your wife, but then when you have 16 of them and hoard them in your closet, right? And that's just obviously a pathetic example, but you know what I mean? I think materialism, when it comes to that, it's the gathering and the hoarding of excess to the detriment of all else in your life, and also to the lacking of perhaps other people, right? I mean, I often ask this question for celebrities and whatnot. You see a commercial, and you know what? Somebody can pull me up on this and tell me I'm an idiot or call me names. But I will tell you something. When I see George Clooney, who is I don't know, he's obviously a millionaire. I don't know if he's a billionaire. But when I see him doing a commercial for Nespresso, right, I got to ask, why are you doing this? Right? Is it for the money? Because you don't need the money. You got more money than you could possibly spend, right? So why are you doing it? It's one thing if you see like a musician, after the next number of years of a hiatus, they come back on stage, like the Rolling Stones. They'll tour when they're 160 years old. But that's different. They're not even doing it, in my estimation anyway. They're doing it because they're doing it for the music. They're doing it for what it is that they do. But when you look at a guy like Clooney, who and I'm picking on Clooney, I'm sorry, I love George Clooney.
I disagree.
Brad Pitt does
Brad Pitt as well. And Brad Pitt is one of my favorite actors, so I'm not picking on these people in terms of that. What I'm asking is, what would be the point of somebody doing a commercial for Nespresso? Unless you're really passionate about coffee, you're doing it for the money. So then my question is, if you're a multi-whatever heir, then what motivates you to do this extra for this extra $3 million or $4 million or whatever?
In my estimation, it's their way. Now I'm diverging a little bit from the materialism conversation, but I think in my estimation, ergo the Rolling Stones continuing their farewell tour, the farewell and the farewell tour, and the George Clooney with the Nespresso. I think it's their attempt, not necessarily to gain more material goods, to gain that extra in on top of the 3 that they already have. I think it's a means for them to stay relevant.
Okay, but you cannot tell me that Brad Pitt is any danger of becoming irrelevant anytime soon, or George Clooney's in jeopardy of becoming irrelevant anytime soon. These are world-class actors, world-class talented actors, world-class personalities, world famous all around the planet. They probably got more money than you and I could ever spend in my whole lifetime. So while I understand,
William just echoed what I said. It's in recognition and to stay relevant. And I think, and you know what? When was the last time Pitt did a movie? When was the last time
the train movie?
Yeah.
It went nuts.
He just had one that just came out.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Didn't it beat all the box office stuff?
True.
I mean, it was a fantastic movie. I haven't fantastic success. I haven't seen it yet.
I just think it's.
But Paulie, I mean, you and I can quibble over what successes these people have, and you could pick on somebody else. I mean, you could pick on a different actor or actress. My point doesn't negate my point, right? My point is that there's a reason these people are doing it. Okay, if you're saying it's not material wealth, I'd be curious to know what it is. But then you can even actually attribute it to what? More fame? How much fame do you need?
Yeah.
Okay, so even that, in a sense, is material possession, right? Because it's stature or whatever the case may be. So, and there again, I'm not picking on these two guys. Like I said, these are a couple of fantastic actors. I love watching Brad Pitt and George Clooney, and Oh Brother Where Art Thou was probably one of the coolest acting jobs ever. So I'm not picking on these people. I guess I'm asking, like Leslie Ann says, right? Gretzky doing commercials for gambling, right? I mean, what is he? Is he passionate about gambling, or is he doing it for the money? Right?
Call.
Well, what about Connor McDavid? Doing commercials for Go Auto. Is he passionate about car dealerships, or is he doing it for the money?
Good point.
Right?
Yeah,
And okay, and we can argue and question: does Connor McDavid need money?
No, he makes $12 million a year.
Not at $12 million a year, he doesn't.
Yeah.
Right.
Plus
So
and that doesn't.
As far as I'm sorry, Bill.
Sorry, Cliff. I was just saying that. Of course, that doesn't include all his endorsements, right? So,
yeah.
his stick endorsements, his Go Auto endorsements, he's in that commercial with Gretzky. So.
And these are small fries in comparison to if you look at the Spielberg family and all these people, right? These are all small fries when it comes to that. But the fact of the matter is, you got to ask yourself, right? I mean, is Connor McDavid passionate about car dealerships? I mean, is that why he's doing car commercials? Is Gretzky passionate about casinos? Is that why he's doing those commercials? The only thing I can think of is that they're doing it for the money, and anybody can jump down my throat and correct me. I'd be happy to be corrected. But I guess that in my mind would be considered materialism. While it's not material, they're actually collecting finances. Finances can buy materials. So in my mind, at what point do you think you would be okay with saying, you know what, I have enough? You should probably get somebody else.
To the other side of the coin, Nicole's Epic Mills says, I also feel that certain businesses seek out celebs to sell their products. Nobody's going to argue on that. That's
no
exactly
doubt about that,
what's
Nicole.
going on. Yeah,
no doubt about that.
There's no doubt about that whatsoever. James G. Hi, James. James says the money Clooney makes from Nespresso is to fund a satellite to keep an eye on war crimes from Sudanese warlord Omar al-Bashir. That's not right, is it? What?
Yeah. Well, I think he could fund that by himself. And it's funny, right? You're talking about Clooney. I will tell you something that I read. I don't know if it's true, but I read that Clooney, when he started becoming rich and wealthy from his talent, from his prodigious talent, many of his friends got $1 million payouts just to bring them up in life. From that he just gave his friends, $1 million here and $1 million there to bring them up in life and to pay off all their bills and to get them a good founding in life and stuff like that. So I've heard that. I'm assuming it's true. I don't know why it wouldn't be. So in terms of that, I mean, like I said, I think the man is quite amazing. But I just used him as an example. He might be a bad example. I don't know. But you get my gist. You get my point.
Another thing too, and I just happened to know this. I heard this a while ago. Clooney got injured in a film, and I don't think Clooney is as mobile's the wrong word, but I guess as agile as he might have. I think the film that he got injured on was Syriana, the big Oscar one, I think. And I don't think he's ever been the same since. Now, that's just something that I heard. I don't know if that's necessarily true. So he might not be able to do a full film anymore or what have you. So, anyway, that could be why
Clooney wasn't, if you're missing the gist of my point, or if you're missing my point, I'm sorry. Clooney wasn't his acting abilities and all that sort of stuff notwithstanding. I don't know. Do you understand the point I'm making, Paul?
And I agree with you.
So it's not specific to Clooney and his acting and his ability to act and all that sort of stuff. So
Yep. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know.
I think part of it, they all have agents, and if an agent, comes to them because they've received some coffee company saying, "Hey, we want Brad Pitt to do our commercial. We're going to pay him like $6 million to do a 30-second commercial," and the agent goes back to Brad Pitt and says, "Hey, I've got a $6 million commercial offer here. It's only 30 seconds. Take probably 2 days to film. You want to do it?" He's probably going to say, "Well, for $6 million, 2 days work. Yeah, I'll be there."
Yeah. Yeah. You also got to wonder, if I don't know, maybe you guys have more, more knowledge about this than I do. You got to wonder if after, all of these successes, from a Tom Hanks, from a George Clooney, from a Brad Pitt, all of these successes, you got to wonder how many people have relied on them and their successes throughout the years. Ergo, they have to keep the money rolling in for these other people, the agencies, the the publicists, the this, that, and the other thing. You got to wonder how much pressure they're under by the people that put them where they are today. Do you know what I mean?
I'm sure it's quite a bit. I'm actually in the midst of reading the Big Bang Theory book that is out.
Yeah.
It talks all about the Big Bang Theory series. It's actually written by a young lady who was with or involved with all of the actors in the series. So it's actually written. It's a really neat book, and the fact that the whole book is interviews with cast and producers and writers. That's all it is, and they're all talking about their 12 seasons. It goes right from the very beginning when the series had its very first pilot, which ended up never airing. The pilot failed. The network didn't even really want to think about picking up the series, and they did a second one. But anyway, blah, blah, blah. Jim Parsons, who played Sheldon, talks about that kind of fact where all of a sudden when the series started to get picked up and was starting to do well, all of a sudden now these actors are getting all these requests. We want you to do this. We want you to do this. And finally he said, well, first of all, I had to hire a publicist, and he said, I had no idea how expensive publicists are, to have to hire one. And he said he's glad he did now, but back then when the series hadn't even really fully been picked up yet, and he had to hire a publicist, not knowing whether he'd have enough money in the bank account to pay the publicist on a regular basis, but he couldn't do without, just because of the way that world works.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you're right. And a sports agent makes a ton of money off their players. When McDavid's making 12 million, a good probably 15 to 20% of that's going to his agent. So that's why they're sports agents. They're just as rich as the players.
Correct. And the standard, and I don't know about sports guys, but the standard agency for acting is 20%. That's standard. So if you think 20%, 20% of $1 million, like that's a lot of money.
Well, I had an agent for quite a few years, and it was usually about 15. At that time, it was probably about 15 to 16% of my check went to the agent.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So they're not hurting.
So no, not at all. They aren't. So, by the way, James G said, "Indeed, it is." So his comment about Clooney wanting to fund a satellite to keep an eye on war crimes.
So okay, so here's maybe Cliff, maybe what they're doing is they continue to make these Nespresso and these Go Auto commercials to fund their initiatives.
Yeah, maybe.
Could be.
I mean, for example, Connor McDavid's girlfriend is trying. I think she's what is she, Bill? And she's an interior designer or something, I think.
She's an interior designer.
Yeah, and she's trying to get her own company going, and maybe he's trying to bankroll her. I mean, I don't know. It's speculation, right? But so
yeah. I have no idea. No idea for sure. So second part of this topic tonight was there a time when you could provide an opinion without fear that you might offend somebody? And did these times ever happen? Because as we've talked before on this show and alluded to before on this show, nowadays you have to be so careful what you say and how you say it sometimes and how you do it, because you could cause a whole issue out of saying something which 20 years ago people would have laughed at or just kind of brushed off, or or whatever the case might be. So was there ever a time, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever, where you could feel comfortable expressing an opinion without fear that you're going to have, 200 people start saying that you're completely wrong, or, what you just said was racist, or what you just said was this, or what you just said was that, right?
Well, I mean, truth be told, I mean, I'm on social media often, guys. Now I'm not on Instagram. I don't use Instagram. I don't use Twitter. I'm exclusively on Facebook. And I just creep, quite honestly, for just that reason, Bill. I don't say anything just because I don't want to get attacked. I'll creep. So, I'll say happy birthday to this person and that person, and I'll say thanks for my birthday wishes, but that's it. That's all I'll say. I'll post an inspirational meme that I can't imagine would offend anybody, but I don't say anything myself. So
yeah. Chai says, I think we're all much more diligent about what and how we may say things.
Well, I think it's people trying to hone in on the art of communication. I don't know.
What do you mean hone in?
Well, just maybe start thinking about the way they say things. Do you know what I mean? Think about how they word things, instead of just letting fly, So I don't know.
Yeah. Just quickly, Cliff, look at the clock there.
Oh, look at that. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the middle of the podcast. Not the film, but the podcast.
Yeah.
If anybody doesn't know yet, you did know I stole it off Monty Python, right?
Yeah. James says people don't get sarcasm when they read it online. Poor reading comprehension. Well, it's coming from a teacher.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't translate real well, though, James.
Yeah.
So, but I wouldn't know. I'm never sarcastic.
I used to be sarcastic, like back in 1980, 82, 83. But really, ever since then, I've not really been sarcastic.
You gave it up. You gave up sarcasm.
That's right. I'm not sarcastic. I'm witty.
Yeah.
No. Laura May 57 says, I think as much as we think, I think as much as we think we do right. Some people will still think of it a different way, no matter what you do.
Well, everybody's going to have their own opinion, Laura. So no matter what you might be talking about, they will probably have their own opinion. They may agree with you, of course, but they may have a completely different opinion to what you're saying, or a different thought about what you're saying.
Yeah, I said this to my kids the other day, and I really find this to be true. And I don't know your guys' opinions on this and everybody's opinions on this. I'm curious. You know what I find? I find that a lot of people now, and I would have. It's always been this way, but I think even more so now with the advent of social media and just the public airing of grievances, as it were. A lot more people are very, very easy to talk, and the art of listening is gone. Nobody listens anymore. That's just what I find, guys. Nobody can sit back and listen to two people debating, or can listen to a conversation with four people. They can't sit back. They always have to have their points in. Do you know what I mean? That's
Leslie Ann says, if I'm not causing someone to get their dander up, then perhaps what I have to say is not worth saying. There you go.
That's always a question, right? What do you think of that statement, Bill?
Yeah, I think I would probably agree with that, Leslie Ann, for sure. As I look back over the years, definitely, there's things you could joke about, 10, 15, 20 years ago that, boy, you sure as heck better not say it nowadays, or you're going to get, absolutely blasted from everybody, around you. Um, it's just such a change, right? And that's why I was wondering if there ever was a time, if people remember a time way back. I don't know, maybe grandparents remember a time where you could say anything and have a good laugh about it, or not upset people or whatever. And today, it's like I've already said, it's like every word is analyzed almost, when you hear people saying things or talking or giving speeches or whatever the case might be. Everything is completely analyzed, and it might be completely not what they're saying. It's as simple as, even sometimes, we all might interpret an email that's written to us in a different way, right? Some of Cliff might read it and go, what the heck, why is this guy so angry? I might read it and go, I don't see it as being angry at all, he's just making a point. And Paul might read it and go, I didn't see either of that. So it's just the way things are said now as compared to way back then. And I don't know what way back then is. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not sure if I'm saying 5 years or 50 years or 30 years, but things now, and like I said, we've talked about this before on the show, just changed so much. Somebody says something what we might find funny, but man, oh man, you better not laugh at it, because who knows what they'll class you as, right?
It's
Well,
interesting. Go ahead, Cliff.
No, go ahead. What are you guys saying? It's interesting. What?
Well, I just want to build in post-secondary radio television. Did you have an ethics course?
An FX course, I think probably I did. Yeah.
So when I took post-secondary, now I didn't take post-secondary at NAIT. I took it at a private radio school, and we had an ethics course. What you can, or I guess not what you can. Well, yeah, I guess what you can and can't say on the radio, for fear of, to Bill's point, getting blasted. Can you imagine? Now, I don't know this, you guys, if NAIT, Radio and Television Arts, now has an ethics course, but my gosh, if they do, it'll probably be the longest course in the world, for heaven's sakes.
Yeah, Paulie, there's a big difference between ethics and not being able to speak your mind in any form or fashion.
True
all right,
that.
I took an ethics course too, and if you actually go look up the definition of the word ethics, what's happening in our society today has very little to do with ethics. What's happening in our society today, as far as I'm concerned, from where I'm sitting, is that people seem to have this common thesis that being offended means something, that being a victim means something, that being a victim somehow elevates them into some other form of humanity that all of us who are not victims won't understand. Although we're victims, all of us, of every single slur out there, in different ways. What a lot of these victim people who are always crying victim and who are always perpetually and never-endingly offended don't understand is that we all humans have very similar challenges. It doesn't matter whether what your station in life is, or what your sexuality is, or what your color is, or so on and so forth. We all have certain things that we have to deal with as human beings. There's certain points of suffering, there's certain points of hurt, there's certain points of heartache, there's certain points of disappointment, there's certain paths and certain people that we go down, and people that we encounter who will hurt us in some way. And the fact of the matter is, it's not some sort of an Olympic sport to be the first one to be victimized, to be the first one to be offended. But we seem to be in a society that actually lauds that. We seem to be in a society that rewards this perpetual victimhood and this perpetual offense, right? So in terms of that, if I were to just simply state, it's not so much that in the past that we didn't have to worry about what we said and that we could speak our opinions. No, I think we all worried about it. I think for the most part, most of us, other than the stupid racist jokes or something like that, frankly, some people never even knew that it was actually that racist or that it actually meant something. A lot of jokes were just somewhat innocent, I would say. But the fact of the matter is, take that aside. And the bottom line is, I think the difference is back then we didn't have to worry about being hurt by people who are offended. Nowadays, if people are offended, it's not like, oh, I'm offended, could you stop that? No, they want to cut your legs off. They want to deplatform you.
That's
They
what I'm
want to,
saying.
you know, they want to hurt you. They want to dox you. They want to get you fired from your jobs, right?
Yeah.
That's the difference. That's the difference from then to now.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying as well, Cliff. And that's why I actually don't spend a lot of time on social media anymore. Nowhere near like I used to. I definitely don't spend time on Twitter. I am on Instagram and I am on Facebook. So the only time I'm on those platforms is promoting the events that I'm involved with. Otherwise I very rarely spend any time on social media reading people's comments or posts or whatever the case might be. I just kind of stay away from it. I lost all interest in Facebook posts and comments and Instagram posts and in comments. So I only use it as I said, a platform really for promotion, because you have to be on social media for event promotion, etc.
Yeah, Leslie says the prized idea of everyone agreeing unchallenged is simply fodder for our society to become sheep. And I mean, she's using heavy words there, but the fact of the matter is, what she means is, if we cannot disagree, then how do you grow? If you cannot disagree, how do you increase in your in your life? If you can't have a discussion, albeit an argument, as long as you're civil, I mean, the fact of the matter is, that's how you thrash out what is good and what is not good. I mean, the fact of the matter is, and I mean, people talk about this as well, right? I mean, they talk about deplatforming people. We don't want them to speak. Do you know what? If this person is such an idiot, you don't want them to speak, you're better off to let them speak. And then they will be judged in the context of society as a whole.
Yeah.
Right. And if they're idiots, I'm sure it'll come out. Right. But if they're only idiots in two people's opinion, and those two people want to deplatform this person, I don't see that as being a valid way to run the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
And Kat says, I find that the problem tends to be that many people attempt to present their opinion as fact. One big problem is that opinion is neither true nor false. Well, you can't argue with that, Kat. The problem is that everybody's that way. And if that comment, you say many people, well, guess what? It's more than many people. It's everybody, because anybody who actually states an opinion, that's what it is. It's an opinion. If it's not a fact, it's an opinion. And that's everybody, not just many people, right? The fact of the matter is, I don't care who you are. I don't care whether you're religious, non-religious, political, apolitical, left, right, center, freaking top, down, bottom, hell, heaven. I don't care who the hell you are. The fact of the matter is, if you're not actually thrashing out the facts and then forming some sort of a comment or whatever about it and be able to back it up, it is plain, simple, empty opinion. If it's an opinion that is worth thrashing about and can actually withstand the test of what we were talking about earlier, withstand the test of discussion and debate and possibly nice, feverish and wonderful arguments that take place in but then end in beers together, right? I mean, that's the kind of world that we should be shooting for, because then we can open our minds, and somebody we can debate with can open our minds, right? And perhaps we open their minds.
Yeah, and that's the perfect explanation, I think, Cliff, about really kind of summing up the whole topic, right? You need to have that ability to be able to do that without any fear of retribution or anything like that, right?
Well, yeah, because you have to have a chance to be able to discuss it, right? I mean, I'll give you an example. I always used to use an expression, right, that I grew up saying when I was a kid, and I tell you what, excuse me, nobody knew what it meant. Nobody was trying to be insultive about it, right? But it was the expression that, oh, that's old as a coon's age. Well, I didn't know what that even meant. It was just an axiom, or whatever you call it, a figure of speech that we use. Yeah. I had no idea what it meant, right? No, I not the slightest idea. And then later on in life, way later on in life, I found out what it actually meant. And even my mom at that time, who lived on this earth obviously a lot longer than I did at that particular moment, even she didn't know that it was any kind of slight, right? Mm-hmm. And so there's the innocence of that's also gone now, because now, even if you are innocent of something and you say something because that is something that you have in the back of your mind that you grew up with, maybe using expressions, now if you say it, you're instantly labeled some some terrible name, right? You know, you're racist, you're some phobic, or you're some this, or you're some that. Okay, well, just because you used an expression that you didn't know was for some odd reason offensive to somebody, you can learn. That's when you have this discussion and somebody says, hey, Cliffy, you possibly shouldn't be using that, my friend, because do you know what it means? I mean, do you understand where that comes from? I mean, that's what the discussion should be. Not as like, you're racist, you're a pig, you're this, you're that. That's the problem, right? It's not that I think that's what we have to be worried about nowadays, right?
Laura tells us a story. She says, let's take this sort of recent event in my life, which I am still baffled about. You try to give a hypothetical scenario, then someone takes it as an attack. What do you do? Then when they do attack you and decide to delete you, would you add them back right away? Because I chose not to, but yet not completely decline. Yet they take it as a decline and block you again. Would you take offense to that? She goes on to say, I would agree with you, Cliff. You can't discuss something civil in a manner. Then you won't learn. And Nicole backs Laura.
Paul's cutting out.
Paul, we're losing you there, Paul. Paul, you're a little frozen there.
I'm a little frozen. Sorry. I don't know where I ended up. Anyways.
We ended up at Nicole. Nicole agreed with what Laura was.
Backed Laura up. Yep. Well, it's.
You know, the bottom line is, right, there's a lot of people nowadays, and it really kind of smacks of disingenuity, but a lot of people these days speak about, you know, kindness and show compassion and you know, be kind to your fellow man, blah, blah, blah. But it's all until that fellow man says something wrong for 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Then the kindness goes out the window. Then the compassion goes out the window. Then we want your head. We want your job. We want you to get cut off at the legs because you're such a racist pig. Blah, 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 blah. Right? So then all the kindness and all the compassion and all these things that are preached goes out the window. Right? How about saying, you know, like I said earlier, right? Hey, you know, that you shouldn't be speaking that way, Cliff, because you know that's offensive to so and so or whatever the case may be. Hey, let's discuss it. And then you know what? If there's any validity to it, if I'm a reasonable human being, which I think I am, if there's any validity to it, then I will change my ways. Right? So I think that's what we need to we need to focus on. We need to focus on you know, that the ability to have a discussion, the ability to have a talk, right? And also the sort of the freedom to disagree and the freedom to argue and the freedom to debate. I mean, this is what challenges the mind.
I'm with you, Cliff, but I'm with you, Cliff, but people have to again understand that a discussion is in 2 forms. And the discussion is in the form of talking, and the other person reciprocates it by listening. And I'm going to say it again: people don't listen. So that's why there's not enough discussion going on. There's this person telling person this thing, and this person saying, "Well, no, this is not true. This is the way I think of it." Well, no, that's not a discussion. That's smacking me right in the face with what you deem to be fact. It's not a discussion. People aren't listening. So I get fed up. I get tired with it, you know, because people are so set. Boom. They don't listen because they're already ready with their next comment as that person is talking, and it drives me nuts.
Yeah.
So
you listen for the purpose of replying, not understanding.
It drives me bananas. You know, like, what did I just say? You know, oh yes, but this is what anyway, it drives me nuts to no end. So, you know.
So what's the solution?
What's the solution? I don't know. What's the solution? What's the solution? Can I say this with you know, almost sounding like a half truth, or a half solution? Don't spend so much time on social media. You know,
that's not the solution to not listening.
No, you're right. It's not, but I think it sure helps. And because
but that smacks of avoidance, Paulie.
Not necessarily. Social media, I think, is there
No, but if
It's
that's
your
the answer
opinion.
to the solution of people not listening is to
No,
stay
I think
away
it's part of
from
the answer. I think it's
stay
part
away
of the
from
answer.
stay away from the town square,
Yeah.
then that's that's withdrawing as opposed to solving, right?
Well, it might, and I think people do need to withdraw a little bit.
And that's
I
going to
think,
solve.
I think no, not solve it. I think it'll help. I think it'll help, but it's not going to solve it. So how do we solve it outright? Poof. I don't know.
No, it's not a matter of
I don't-
solving. How do we work towards a
I don't know.
better quote unquote system?
I don't know. Yeah.
Leslie says, I would like to own a word that my culture had allowed people to come to mean something derogatory. If the word cute becomes stated in a disparaging way, then if someone calls me cute, exactly. So that's the thing, right? A word all of a sudden becomes something disparaging, even though 2 weeks ago it wasn't.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kat says this seems to be more of an internet problem. Leslie Ann says I would own it and say yes, darn I am.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what you have to do. I have no argument with that. Paulie, the only thing I would say is that it has to start with the self. That's all I would say. In my mind, if people aren't listening, then I have to listen better. In my mind, if people are being offended too easily, then I have to be offended less easily. And it has to start somewhere. And as far as I'm concerned, it has to start with the person. So if people are not listening to me, then maybe I should listen more.
I love that. I love it.
Right. And
I
I think
love it. I agree with it.
And when I talk, I was going to say, when I talk about not going on social media, it's not so much, I think, in the way in what you're trying to explain, Paul. I just honestly, and I think Cliff kind of touched on this a little bit, and some of our people in the chat have as well, is that whole victim thing, right? I just get tired of reading all the posts of people complaining, oh, so-and-so said this to me, and so-and-so did that, and so-and-so blah, 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 and on and on and on. And it's become so prevalent on the major social media platforms that are out there that, it's like Cliff has said, I think the best way is if you have said something, or if I have said something and somebody says, just like you said, Cliff, and I'm just kind of going back to what you said, then tell me that what you just said, that's really, you could hurt somebody, with that. And then I can say, oh, what did I say? What did explain to me? And then
what does that mean? Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, well, what was it I just said is got you upset?
Because as this world grows smaller, right, with more and more people of every single culture in every corner of the world, you're bound to learn things that you never knew was any kind of a problem, right? You're bound to learn these things, right? And one of the things that I would tell you about social media, so I don't like, what the hell do I know? But this is what I would recommend personally, because Bill, to your point, you talk about getting on social media and listening to people complain, and they're the victim. Oh, look, this is what happened to me, man. I see that a lot. You know what? I see that a lot on my particular pages, where people say, I can't believe what happened to me. I was in this group and this person called me this and this person called me that. I'm like, I don't care. All right. The problem is I don't get on there and say, I don't care. Do you know why? Because it's not, at that point, it's not worth it. Right. So what I would ask, or what I would recommend, or what I certainly tell myself, is to curate that which you wish to respond to. Right. So if you think you can make an impact by responding to somebody, then fine. If it's going to be just a babble session between the two of you and end up each other calling names, then I'm not interested. Right. So I actually curate that which I respond to, and both in the negative sense and in the positive sense. Right. I mean, I think I've talked about this before, right? There's a motivational meme that gets posted, and then 6,000 bloody people post the same damn thing. How many times am I going to say, hey, this is a good meme?
Yeah.
How many times, right? So if I see it once, if whoever posts it and I see it once, I go, oh, hey, that's kind of cool. But then if 6,000 other people post the same bloody meme, right? Yeah. It loses its significance, right? So social media, in my mind, should be curated. It should be, I'll fly by a lot of these silly ass memes that I'll see. And I'm not, when I say silly ass, I don't even mean that, because some of them are quite good. But if it's just some platitude, right, then I'll just fly by it, because it's really not worth sort of the effort and time to even respond positively. Because why? If that person never wrote it, They just copied it and slammed it down, right? And
Yeah,
it's
copied
not
or
only
shared
that they copied it and shared it. 6 million of the other people on the same wavelength did the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's not like a quote from literature or something like that. Hey, that's different, right? Now we got something to learn. But if it's just some simple platitude, be kind to your fellow man. It's like, okay, all right, that's great, that's wonderful. But I mean, it's like,
It really holds no weight.
It holds zero weight, right? So what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
How are you gonna comment to this? It means nothing, right? So I'm always looking for meaning, and meaninglessness tortures me more than anything. So when I see posts that are meaningless, I can't find a way to engage with it. When I see posts that are mean or trying to gain attention because I'm this victim, I can't abide by that either. So I don't know. That narrows the scope down to what you do on social media for sure.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And a lot of people hate you for it. They think you're cold and they think you're unfriendly and all. No, you're not. The fact of the matter is, if it doesn't matter, I mean, if you were sitting in a conversation with somebody, you're not going to say, oh, I heard this great quote, be kind to your fellow man.
Mm-hmm.
Really? Would you say that over a cup of coffee? Hey, Bill, I got to share this with you, Bill. Be kind to your fellow man, okay?
And I'd say, I'm going to grab another coffee, then we'll start a new discussion.
Yeah, exactly, right? I mean, it's so pithy and so meaningless and so banal, right?
Yeah, for sure. And by the way, not that I drink coffee, because I don't. But anyway.
That's right. Well, that's one thing I have against you, Bill.
Yeah.
But anyway, so my point is, if social media was more meaningful and, like people shared something that was, that was interesting, that was human, that was this, that was that, then all of a sudden it becomes engaging. So between that far end and then the other end that is, oh, poor me, look, I'm a victim, that somebody called me some name, or what, I don't know, whatever the hell the victims out there are constantly complaining about, then there's a very small, narrow bandwidth of stuff that you can engage with.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me anyway.
Yep. Nope.
I'm sorry if that sounds rude. I don't mean it to sound rude. I'm being as honest as I can be, and I'm not trying to malign anybody. I'm just being as honest as I can be. It's just that in a conversation, I can't imagine somebody preaching a meme to you like you see they're always preaching. A lot of these memes are exactly that, right? Be kind to your fellow man and blah, blah, blah. And then if you know this person, sometimes you think to yourself, are you even a little bit self-aware? Often the person and then they're posting this meme and you think to yourself, isn't that interesting, right? No. So I think in terms of that, I think social media has definitely gone astray in so many ways. Even Facebook used to be so much better in the early days.
Oh, way back when it started. Yeah, it was.
Oh yeah, people would post pictures and remember the status update. Hey guys, I got an A on my exam. Oh man, you could jump up and cheer for these people. It's like, hey, right on, man. That's awesome, right? I know you were studying last night and blah, 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 because you and I were messaging late in the night while you were studying, and I'm so happy and proud of you that you got it. That's different. That's different than a meme that says be kind to your fellow man. Right?
No, that's everything you said, Cliff, completely agree with. And just looking at the time, we only have like about 45 seconds left.
There you go. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for showing up. Kat, I've not seen you here before, I don't think.
Kat, I think it was a long time ago. It's been a while since Kat's actually been back.
I don't recognize the name, I'm afraid. But hey, thank you for showing up, and for everybody else that came and chatted with us and got some of the discussion going. I say it every Monday night. This show would not be the same without you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for chatting. Thank you for engaging. And thank you for being here next Monday. And thank you for sharing this podcast. And for some odd reason, if you're missing it, Mr. Bill,
you can hear the audio portion of it on Friday nights on soundsugarradio.com at 10 o'clock. And of course, the videos stay up on our YouTube channel as well. So if you have not subscribed yet to the YouTube channel, make sure to subscribe. We want to get the more subscribers, the better. The more people get into our chat and things like that as well. So definitely subscribe, and you can always go back and rewatch the video on YouTube and or listen to the audio on soundsugarradio.com. All right, everybody. That brings us to the end. Next Monday, episode
amazing week, everybody.
139. Have a great week, everybody.
Night.
Be happy.
Night.